Welcome back to PCOS Unfiltered, Nourish, Heal, Thrive, the show where we cut through the noise, ditch the shame, and talk about what it really takes to heal from the inside out. I'm your host, Lindsie, nurse, health coach, and a fierce believer that your diagnosis is just one chapter, not the whole story. Today's guest is Nicholas Arcata, a personal trainer who's passionate about helping people build strength, stay consistent, and create sustainable results. We're going to dive into the role of exercise on any health journey, why mindset and accountability matter just as much as the workouts themselves, and how to build a plan you can actually stick with. If you've ever felt like the gym is overwhelming or you're not sure where to start, this episode is going to give you both the encouragement and the practical tools to move forward with confidence. As a reminder, the content shared on PCOS Unfiltered is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guest are not intended to serve as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or treatment plan. The information shared is based on personal experience and expert interviews and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance. Now let's dive in. Hello. Welcome. So super excited to have Nico here with us today. And this is really the first episode that I've done around fitness. I always focus so much on nutrition because that's where my journey has been. And I've learned about nutrition, having such an impact. But that being said, fitness and movement and exercise, whatever you want to call it, plays such a role in the journey as well. So super excited to have you here. So let's just kind of dive on in and first just, why do you do what you do? Can you share your story and just kind of, what brought you here?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I've always kind of had a passion for fitness. I think it really started at a younger age, more so on the athletic side, right? Playing sports and just wanting to perform my best in those sports led to strength training, conditioning, and overall just a pursuit in fitness as a whole, right? So that was kind of the beginning for me. Once I got to college, started to take weight training more seriously, always trying to maintain, really at that point it was more physique and aesthetic, I would say, right? Trying to impress girls and whatever it is. But as time went on, got out of college, was working for an insurance company at the time, and still like the gym was a priority for me. And I was playing around at that time with some intermittent fasting, um, still hitting the weights, but performance wasn't as necessary, right? It was like I'm working 9 to 5. To me, though, still prioritizing the gym. And then that's kind of just molded what I really wanted to do. I knew that wasn't for me, that career path. Ended up leaving that job, just shipping it out to California, just quit and drove out to California where my brother was in San Diego, right? And uh, in my head, it was always I'll get out there and I'll just pursue fitness head on, full speed. That's what I love to do, so it's not a problem for me waking up and training, giving tips, and helping people honestly at the end of the day. So it ended up working out, and I ended up at Fit Athletic for a couple of years training, which was unbelievable, great experience for me. And now I'm at that point where doing some of my own stuff with the online coaching and still every time I sit down and have a conversation like we're about to have, like I love it. Like I'm passionate about it. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It becomes part of who you are. And that's a lot of what I talk about with my clients is instead of saying like, well, I have to have the time to do this or I have to have the money to, do X, Y, and Z to get the results that I want. Once it just
Mhm.
becomes part of your identity and who you are, that's how you're really going to make the changes that actually stick. So,
For sure.
um, so for women, are there any particular types of training that you notice have a better benefit
than others, or is everybody just different too?
I think it's interesting because perspectively, I think a lot of women have an idea of I'm supposed to train a certain way, and then depending on what the overall goal is, right? So many people are different, but it depends. So if your goals are more aesthetic based and how you look, it may be one thing, and then health specifically could be another. But what I found specifically was strength training is beneficial to anybody and everybody, right?
Mm,
And there's so much research that shows having increased muscle mass is beneficial for overall health, metabolically, um, just all the benefits that come with it. And I think some of the perception in the female world, a lot of girls who I would end up sitting down with and at least having a discussion, whether we work together or not, would end up talking about not wanting to be too bulky, which is kind of a classic one. Some fear within like the realm of the weights, right? There was times also you don't want to go where all like the big scary guys are, but again, and I think that the benefits that come with the strength training specifically just outweigh any fear or any irrational thoughts. But overall, honestly, balanced. And I train men and women pretty similarly.
mhm.
Having a good cardiovascular system, straining that the right amount of ways so your health is great. And then also weight training, specifically depending on how your goals are, right? So if you, again, I would say most females, not all of them, prefer a toned upper body with some glute activation most of the time, right? It's just kind of that similarity, especially being out in San Diego. And for me, it's all right, well, let's do some more volume in the glutes. We'll tone the upper body with still strength training and building muscle there. And overall, just I think the bulkiness isn't necessary to be afraid of, especially just based on our testosterone levels and the difference there. It's very challenging for a woman to get bulky. Um, but just finding a relationship with it overall in a
Yeah,
healthy way. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, and I mean the bulkiness, I mean that's where nutrition, I feel like plays a role, right?
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
And that's like always been a funny one where what you're eating and the timing of what you're eating, it's really if you're in a deficit and you're lifting weights, you're really gonna struggle to build either way, right? It's really all
Mhm.
about if you're breaking the muscle down and then you're refueling it properly, you can get some growth going. So playing that game a little bit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, properly with the proteins and
100%.
not all the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what are some common mistakes that you see when women start working with you? You know, is there anything that really sticks out? Like, do they go do they go too hard right off the
Um,
bat?
you know, not specifically. I think, well, yeah, sometimes I think you kind of come into this new thing really energized and excited and kind of like what you just said. Sometimes, yeah. Um, coming in a little bit too much and wanting the results immediately. So I think expectations a lot of the times in managing that and
For
having
sure.
confidence in what you're doing. And it's such a, I mean, the industry we're in is such a delayed gratification, right? So just because you started this new thing this week doesn't mean that next week you're going to have six pack abs and be toned up. It's you. And I think that kind of comes into play with the whole lifestyle change in general,
Mhm.
right? Because if you can find consistency going forward as long as possible, then the benefits of that come with it, right? Your health, your aesthetic, everything just kind of falls into play. But it's finding the consistency within that realm and not, and again, if there's highs and lows, right? You can get into it and a month goes by and you're starting to see results, and then all of a sudden you either plateau or you take a step back. And then how do you respond to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the consistency definitely is key. Like I know when we had the gym, you would see, Yeah, they'd wanna come, like, 4 or 5 times a week to the classes, and maybe they could
Yeah.
do it, but also I used to tell them, "Nope, let's plan for 3 because life happens." And so then
Mhm.
there's some weeks where, yeah, like, maybe you can only come to 1, but some people would even get discouraged by that, and so you really have to, like, celebrate all those tiny, those small wins along the way for sure. And also
Mm.
realize that I feel like, I mean, you would probably agree, but it also, I know for me personally, I've kind of changed my philosophy, but exercise is more for mental health as well. Yes, and which ties into your physical health, um, but I think especially for women, that can kind of be like their own time away from, priorities where they can really focus on themselves as well.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a big shift I've personally had also, and
Mhm.
then seeing that within, again, clients too, where that mindset shift, I'll see ya, that mindset shift and everything that comes along with it, and at the end of it, it's kind of just quality of life to me.
Yeah.
If you have a good relationship with exercise, you kind of start to get that snowball effect of, all right, I'm starting to see my goals physically. How can I get to that next level? And maybe it's changing your nutrition. Maybe it's taking something out of your routine that might be negatively impacting it, right? Then you
Mhm.
start to look at your sleep quality. And I think it's a good thing to get going there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is your philosophy around exercise as medicine? You've mentioned obviously the
Mm.
physical side of it, but in addition, what's your philosophy around mood and sleep and energy and how it affects all of that?
Yeah, I think exercise overall is the best medicine in my opinion, right? I think everything that goes with it, because you can do it in a way where it's almost harmful if the other things aren't correct too, right? So overtraining, I think, is a
Mhm.
common used term in regards to you're doing too much and your body's not getting enough of what it needs, whether that's fuel and nutrients, whether that's rest and recovery. I'm not the biggest believer in overtraining specifically, like that being the problem, but more so those other things where you're not balancing it out with what you need on the other end, right? So you could train real hard, just make sure you're getting enough sleep. You're getting the macronutrients you need so that your body's running properly
Mhm.
and train in order with that. So it's balanced out. Um, but I think that's really my philosophy is if you find a good relationship with all those things, then the quality of your life and your overall health tend to improve,
For
right?
sure.
So, and I think it again comes back to that mental side of things where what does it take to follow a routine and go to the gym when you don't want to and getting done with a workout you don't want to do is a lot of discipline and it's a lot of things that carry you through life. And I think they're good character traits to have. So, male
Sure.
or female, I think it's just a good stepping stone to get into a routine, find that you start to see some results, and then, oh, where can I shift so that, you know, my mindset is now better in the gym and I feel better. And that's kind of coming into now my work and my job is better. I'm taking risks at work and I'm kind of in my career path doing better. And then all of a sudden I feel good when I'm out and about. Now my relationships are thriving. Right. So I think
Yeah.
it's all interconnected and interweaved. So for me,
Yeah.
it's always started with the health and wellness part. And, I'm coming along in that journey also. So
Yeah,
yeah.
completely agree. How do you balance pushing clients for improvement without risking, burnout or injury? This is a good
It's a
one.
great question. It is. It really is. And specifically, female clients, because what I cannot relate to is having a cycle monthly, right? So that was a learning curve for me. But again, it's those similar things where you're coming in, and I think we all have days where we feel great and we can push ourselves, and we have days where we come in and showing up is the win that day, right? So a
For
lot of
sure.
the times specifically around like a female cycle, it was how do you feel? And there would be days, where a client would come, be on their menstrual cycle and have energy and feel great, and we would get a good workout. There'd be days where it wasn't that time of the month, and work is stress and you didn't sleep great. And all right, you showed up, let's give 100% of what we have today, which may be, my tank may be 50% is all I can go to. Great. And playing around with it, right? What kind of day is it today? What's going to make us more consistent going forward? And what's going to get you back in the gym next week, right? Because if I push you real hard today, you're going to want to come in again next week and keep doing that for, weeks, months, and then eventually you find your own routine. So, yeah, that specifically for sure.
Yeah. I knew we would get into that because
Yeah.
that's a great
Whatever.
point. It is. It's a great point. I mean, and like I know for me personally, sometimes it means I
Yeah.
just lift lighter, that day. But I'm still there putting in the work, and I know I'm still getting a lot of benefit from it. But
Mm,
yeah, if I'm feeling it, then I just adjust accordingly. And I think a lot of women have to realize that as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Well, like, would you make an adjustment specifically knowing timing wise, right? It's like, all right, next week is going to be a little bit different of a week for me. Are you going to go into that week like, I'm probably not going to try to max out this week, or I'm not going to push myself too hard, right? Like, what goes through it for you?
Yeah. So I track my stuff a lot. I track my temperature and all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
usually know like where I'm at with things. And it's especially those last like 10 to 14 days leading up to the first day of my cycle that I really start feeling it. And so I don't always like to go in saying like, oh, it's going to be a bad workout today, because that just sets you up for failure right there. But I'm more aware of it. And so I try to do what I can do. And then, yeah, if I'm starting to like really feel it early on in the workout, then I can scale back. I mean, the same thing, I'm training for a half marathon right now. And there have been some
Mm,
times where I'm thinking that's playing a role in how my runs are going as well. So whether it's cardio, weights, it affects all of it. But yeah, like I said, I don't like to go in saying, well, it's that time of the month, and so this is probably just going to be bad.
yeah.
Like, why am I even here? No, because like you said, showing up sometimes is the win, during certain times of the month.
No, for sure. And I actually just thought of a question because in regards to, right, you have this specific goal now, right? So you have this half marathon coming up, and uh that's an obstacle, right? It's like, all right, my training block has me pushing hard this week and it's kind of
Yeah.
lining up, but performance wise, so I think that could be a whole nother episode in itself, right? It's like
Yeah.
you could go health and well-being, you can go optimal performance,
Yeah.
whatever route you want to take, right? So
Yeah.
um I think for like the average client, most people really just are looking for, I want to be overall healthier, maybe
Hmm.
longevity. And if I look a little better with that, that's a good thing too. But really,
Yeah.
like, I want to wake up, feel good. I'm healthier because I whatever, right? But optimal performance is a different kind of beast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I want to show up on Sunday and I want to be able to empty my tank completely and know that these 3 training blocks I just went through are going to help me get there. And things might not go the way you want, but
Hmm.
like adjusting and, it's problem solving. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's also where sleep plays a role,
mm,
decreasing stress, in some way, being aware of all of that stuff, um, getting more nutrients, drinking more water, whatever it may be. Like you have to, I know for me, I also focus on all of that stuff too. One big thing besides my temperature, like I mentioned, is my heart rate too. So I
mm,
monitor that, my resting heart rate and stuff at night. And so usually then I kind of know if that's creeping up. Okay, like what's going on? What do I need to focus on just besides the workout itself? What do I need to adjust? Yeah.
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 Do you wear a ring or a watch or anything?
Watch. Yeah.
Watch, yeah.
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 Yeah. The Apple Watch, which I think, yeah, I think Oura Ring, Apple Watch. I know Garmin's coming out with some, I feel like more technology with stuff now too. But there's
Yeah.
definitely some that are, yeah, at the top of the list. And I have an app. It tells like, you know, heart rate. It gives me my temperature overnight, HRV, all that stuff.
Yep.
So So then, yeah, so that I can assess kind of my recovery status
Hmm.
for the next day.
What's your opinion on that stuff? I think within the industry, most people see the benefits. I think there's some stigma almost about being too reliant on it, which I can agree with. What are
Mhm.
your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree. Like, it, whether it's too reliant or too obsessive, you
Mm,
know, because that's the other thing too. And there are some days where maybe it says I didn't sleep as well, or something, it's saying something is off, but I feel fine.
mm,
So yeah, you have to, again, be aware of some of that stuff. Like, I watch more for trends, probably more so than like focusing on the daily numbers. But yes, we can get a little too reliant on that. There's definitely some benefits, lots of benefits to it. But I think even beyond the reliance part is where some people can just obsess over that stuff. And so, like, even like for me, I don't have people track calories and macros and all that stuff, because I've learned some people, and for some people it does work. If that is what they want to do, you know, do you want to do it for the rest of your life? But same
yeah.
thing, same kind of concept with the fitness, aspect with tracking all of that stuff. You can get a little obsessive over that stuff, and it can actually be more of a stressor,
Mm,
um, than the benefit that it should be.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Uh, what would you say are the most important components of a sustainable training plan? Just training plan beyond the workouts themselves. We already kind of touched a little bit, but maybe even like
Yeah.
mindset. Would you say mindset plays a role here?
Yeah, I think similarly in regards to programming is I try to really give off in a way of why haven't you gotten to where you want to be up until this point? Like what's prevented you from getting your overall goal, whatever it may be, right? And then if and when you accomplish that goal, how are you going to sustain that going forward? Another thought there. And then also, how can you make this a consistent thing going forward through the rest of your life, right? So I think in regards to training specifically, programming is finding the consistency is really the biggest thing. And I think consistency over intensity majority of the time. If you can consistently be intense, great. But again, like you come in on a day and intensity is not there, great. Consistency is the name of the game that day. So really
Yeah.
like that's probably the biggest thing. I liked what you were saying earlier on with when you guys had the gym, right? And people are like, you first sign up, I'm going to be here every day. What do we got for
Mhm.
classes? You burn out, right? And I
Yeah.
think an approach I would take, especially with clients, and like I'm getting paid the more I see you, right? Was when I was in person. But for your benefit and overall health, if we're going 4 days a week and I know it's too much for you, why would we, right? But if I say, all right, I want you coming in 3 days a week. It can work for you around your work schedule. You can still have some type of social life, like you're going out doing your thing. And 3 days a week is sustainable, right?
Mhm.
And a month goes by and 3 days a week, you're like itching for more. That's what I want. I want you to be like, I can go another
Exactly.
day compared to if let's go 4 days a week and you're only getting in 3 days a week. And then all of a sudden your confidence shifts, right? And that's a psychological play behind it
Yeah.
of, I want you to want to be here and want more compared to if you miss a day and feel shitty, is that negatively affecting your workouts and
Yeah.
your approach to the gym and everything?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That all
yeah,
or nothing mentality that a lot of us have,
yeah,
where it just needs to be something
yeah,
consistently. Which, I mean, I could even get into sometimes, because I'm like, sometimes I just want to go for a walk, but like in my head, I'm stuck at like, I need to go for like a 3 mile walk for it to be
yeah.
beneficial. When
Hmm.
just a mile is still great, still moving my body, getting some fresh air. Like, I'm still going to see a lot of benefit from that. But yeah, definitely starting on the smaller side, I've found too, has been
Yeah.
a lot more beneficial.
So that's a classic one right there too, right? Is I think because there's definitely levels to it, right? So starting off, maybe a little bit of movement is great. And then once you've been doing it for a while, you're like, well, I need to work out for an hour and 15 minutes to make it beneficial, right? But then
Yeah.
there's days where if I go get 30-minute workout in, I know my mind's going to be better and sharper. I'm going to feel
Exactly.
good, right? So doing something is always like better than
Yeah,
doing nothing, I would say. So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. What is the saying? You only regret the workout you didn't do.
100%, right? I love that one, and it's like, I mean, you might regret starting a run, you might regret the middle of the run, but once you're done, as long as everything went smoothly, you're like, I'm happy I did that, you
Exactly.
know,
Yep.
unless
Yep.
unless there's a little injury in there, but
I hope you loved today's conversation with Nicholas as much as I did. Remember, exercise isn't about punishing your body, it's about supporting it, honoring it, and building resilience from the inside out. Whether you're managing PCOS, looking for more energy, or simply wanting to feel stronger, the right plan, combined with the right mindset and accountability, can truly change everything. If you want to connect with Nicholas and learn more about his training, I'll drop all the ways to connect with him in the show notes. And if you're ready to take the next step in your own healing journey, be sure to check out my other resources linked there as well. As always, thank you for being here with me on PCOS Unfiltered. Until next time, nourish, heal, and thrive.